Yastatarasata Shri Sriman Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Rupa Anuga Guru Bhagya ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Sri Gaur Bhakta Brinda ki jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda ki jai. Shramadeta Vaishnava Mandali ki jai. Kol Kartel ki jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Baba. Okay, so welcome everyone to our usual Sunday afternoon talk. Yeah, I know. So we are continuing our discussion of the foundational books of our founder Acharya, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, and these books are, you can say, quintessentially important for the devotees of Chaitanya Saraswat line, as they show the insight, particular unique, sweet presentation of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's devotional thought. So we're on the third book currently, the Golden Volcano of Divine Love, and it is in two parts. First part is the something of the life of Sri Chaitanya Dev. The second part, his teachings in the form of the Shikastakam, which were the 8 verses that he left. Only those 8 verses from his holy pen, if you like, then so many countless numbers of books written in explanation and illumination of those verses, headed by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. All of their books are based on this and the development of these thoughts of Chaitanya Dev in his school of Achinta Veda Veda Prakash. Srila Govinda Maharaj would say, all the other Vaishnava Acharyas, they are all giving a Vad, Vashista Dvaita Vad, Shuddha Dvaita Vad, and so on. And Vad means theory, but Mahaprabhu gave Siddhanta, Achinta Veda Veda Siddhanta. So that means the conclusion of all the thought of the spiritual giants, like Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarkacharya, and so on. Then all of their vads culminating in Chaitanya Dev's Achinta Veda Veda Siddhanta, the conclusion. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that eventually all of the sampradayas, Vaishnava sampradayas, they will all merge and come under the umbrella of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sampradaya. So we believe that. So this chapter, union in separation, and the verse of this is Ashlishyava Padaratan Pinashtumam Adarshanam Marmahatam Karutova Jata Tataba Bidadato Lampato Matprananatas Tu Sa Eva Napa Raha. Krishna may embrace me in love or trample me under his feet. He may break my heart by hiding himself from me. Let that debauchee do whatever he likes. but he will always be the only Lord of my life. Srila Maharaj's illumination of this verse. This is the greatest medicine for the devotees. Sorry. Having microphone trouble here. Just need to. Yeah, got it. Thank you. Forget about the microphone sometimes. Too much. Okay. This is the greatest medicine for the devotees. We have come to measure the immeasurable, but we must always embrace this principle in attempting to connect ourselves with the infinite Lord of love and beauty. We must remember that he is infinite. Or he is the infinite, rather, Guru Maharaj says. He is only one to us, but he has many devotees like us to deal with. So we only have him to deal with, so to say, from our side. But from his side, he has so many devotees that he needs to deal with. He may embrace us with much affection and adoration, but we must be prepared for the opposite. We may stick to his feet, but he may cruelly trample us. We have caught hold of his holy feet with great hope, with our whole heart. Still, we may find that he tramples us and doesn't care for all our attempts and affection. We may be giving our best and find that our offering is being hatefully dishonored. He may embrace us, but at the same time we must be prepared that his dealings may be extremely cruel. He may trample all our offerings beneath his feet. We must be prepared for both his adoration and his hateful negligence. We should be prepared for any adverse circumstances. Krishna may be indifferent. He may not care. And when he is punishing us, he is nearer. But when he is indifferent, it is even more intolerable than punishment. The devotee thinks, Krishna is ignoring me, neglecting me so much that he doesn't like to keep any connection with me. Doesn't he know me? Am I a foreigner unknown to him? We may accept punishment as a boon, but indifference is even more heart-rending. Sorry, I'm getting too much echo on that. I think that's better, yeah. So, that was one of the things we noted with Guru Maharaj, and that we dreaded to hear from Guru Maharaj, if you had some, proposal to place before him, the worst response that you could get from him was, as you like, so you may do. That was just like the signal that he was completely indifferent to what you just said. Mm-hmm. Yes, as you like, so you may do. We wanted him to say, no, not that, do this. That's foolishness. We'd rather him say that. But as you like, so you may do. Guru Maharaj wasn't that sort of, ordering person. Not to most of us anyway, to some. He's giving some order. But as you like, so you may do. It was like, oh, no, not that. And Srila Govinda Maharaj, you know, like some years ago, as you know, I had a little restaurant. And I had this, my idea was, you know, I'll make this restaurant, it'll be extremely successful, profitable, and we can use the profits to support the temple. You know, that was the idea. Alas, it didn't work out. You know, they say the most important thing, three most important things for any restaurant is location, location, location. And really it's true. If we'd have been a few hundred yards further down the road in the like High Street, we probably might even still be there today. But anyway, that aside, we were open for like 2.5 years, about, and finally we had to close it. My business partner and I, we made enough money to keep everything running, to pay all the staff, but we didn't make enough money to pay ourselves. What to speak of, you know, profits going to the temple. We couldn't even pay ourselves. So you can only go for so long without like paying yourself. You know, and we didn't have those kind of reserves that we could weather that. So anyway, we decided we had to close it down. And then we went, after it was closed, I met Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj in Russia. And he was traveling in Russia. I traveled with him for some time there. And we were in Moscow and staying in one devotee's house in Moscow. And came, you know, it was like my first meeting with Gurudev after I'd arrived there. And I said, "Oh, Maharaj, I had to close the restaurant." He said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Prabhu. What happened?" You know, something. And then he said, "I didn't want you to do that restaurant." And I was like, "What?" And I said, "Why didn't you tell me? You know, like 2.5 years ago, why didn't you tell me that you didn't want me to do it?" And he said, "Prabhu, you were so enthusiastic that I didn't want to like put the damper on it. You know, like I didn't want to disappoint you. So I just let you go on." "All right, Maharaj." He said, "That is not your dharma. Your dharma is to engage other people to make restaurants and, you know, businesses for supporting the temple. Not you yourself doing that." Anyway, it was kind of a little bit that feeling, you know, that Gurudev was like, "Yeah, do it if you want." You know? But he knew really that he was really very acute in his observation of things. Like one of our devotees here, in the 1980s, there was just at that time, there was vinyl signs were taking off in the United States, where you'd have, you know, attached to your computer, a vinyl cutter machine, and you would make some kind of like a sign, you know, it would say, you know, Joe's Haulage Company or something, and the, you know, it would plot that on vinyl, and it would cut out the decals for it, and then you'd stick them to the side of a lorry or to the board of a restaurant or whatever it was. And one of our godbrothers, Mathuranath, he'd kind of got in early on this business, and he was becoming very successful, one of the first people to do this over there. And then one of his friends was one of our devotees here. There was no one doing that in the UK at that time, no one at all. So that our friend, that devotee, he got set up here in London making these vinyl signs, and had a studio, everything he was doing, but he's doing it all by himself. And then when Srila Govinda Maharaj came, he wanted to show him. It's like, then he came and showed him all the machines and showed him everything. And Gurudev said, "This is very nice, Prabhu, but I see one small flaw in your business idea." And he said, "Yes, Gurudev, what's that?" He said, "You don't have any customers." You have no way of getting any customers, you know, like, are you advertising? Are you like nothing? He just like had everything, but no customers and no way of making any customers. He had one job he did in the whole time, and that was I think in Ilford, there was a shop called the Elvis store, which was sold all kinds of Elvis Presley memorabilia and things, and he made the signs for that. But that was it. But anyway, why I'm saying that, Gurudev was just he's very clever. He could always see, like, this will work or won't work, or, I mean, it's like had a brilliant brain for that. This is when, after, in the time of Guru Maharaj, he said, I never liked to go for begging. So Guru Maharaj would send me out for begging, which is like your duty as a brahmachari to beg for your Gurudev. He said, but he said, my nature is I don't like to ask anybody for anything. And if they could volunteer it, then okay. He said, I'd rather make some business. And he did. He made like three or four different businesses to support the mott in Navadvip. One was that the local coal merchant would deposit some coal in one place in the mott, and all the village people would buy their coal from the mott, and little bit, just a few paisa more than you would get from if you bought it directly, and then it's close by, you don't have to transport it. So they had that little business going there. And then he said, for preaching, he saw that they had this thing which was called the magic lantern, which is, it's like a light thing that revolves around and the pictures move and everything, So somehow they'd made one that showed like devotional pictures of, Chaitanya Dev and, and you could make some presentation with that. So Gurudev bought those, and then he persuaded like quite a few of Guru Maharaj's godbrothers to invest in that as well. And so they had that as a preaching tool. And various different things like that he did, but he said, I don't like begging or asking anybody for anything. And the other thing he did was he had pilgrimage parties. So he would take devotees to Bhadrakashram or to Char Dham, or the different places. And sometimes the first ones, Guru Maharaj would also go, and they would have a party, and people would go this way, and they would raise some money for the temple with Bhakti Kamal Madhusudan Maharaj. Or Gurudev would say, whenever we would go to these pilgrimage places, we'd always take a sadhu with us. If Guru Maharaj wasn't coming, then I'd get one of his godbrothers. Maharaj, you come with us, and you preach to everyone while we're doing this. And it was very successful venture. Anyway, kind of gone off the a bit of a tangent here. But so Guru Maharaj is speaking about how when the Lord is indifferent to us, that's even worse than getting chastisement or punishment from us. I was remembering how Srila Sridhar Maharaj used that expression, as you like, so you may do. That was his sign, although I don't think he meant it to be consciously, but when we heard that, we knew he was completely ambivalent to whatever that idea was. As you like, so you may do. Don't tell me about it, just do whatever you want to do. I'm not interested. So the pain of separation felt by a devotee may even go a step higher. Krishna may affectionately embrace another right before our eyes, in front of our face, without caring even a little for us. We may think, this is my claim, my right, but that may be given to another right in front of our face. That will be a source of increasing trouble to us. This is the law of affection. The law of love cannot tolerate indifference. It is too much to tolerate, but we must be prepared for that. We must be prepared from the beginning that this is the meaning of Krishna Prema, divine love for Krishna, because he is an autocrat. He is love. Divine love means mercy and not justice. There is no law there. And we have selected divine love to be our highest fortune. So we must be prepared to be treated without justice. There is no justice in divine love. It is free. It may flow anywhere and everywhere. This is the very nature of divine love. So we can't make any claim. We have no rights. So Guru Maharaj would say that sometimes. One of our godbrothers, he heard that Guru Maharaj wants to buy a generator for the temple, petrol generator, because back in the 80s there were a lot of what was known as load shedding, so that like parts of the day no electricity at all, So in that case, Guru Maharaj wanted to have a generator to supplement that. So this devotee, American devotee, he collected money to buy a really good generator, and so he came to Navadvip and gave Guru Maharaj the money for that generator. And then maybe 6 months later again he returned, no generator, and he asked the Guru Maharaj, "Oh, what did you do with the money that I gave you for the generator? I see you didn't buy the generator." He was a little kind of put his nose out a little bit, and Guru Maharaj said, "Oh, you want to say no taxation without representation? Is that what you want to say? There is no room for that slogan here. You have given it to me, there your duty is finished. I use the money for something else, but it is not your business what I use that money for." And that's true, when you give to the higher. But also we're not to imitate that too. I remember one devotee came here once, just shortly after Gurudev gave me charge here, and he wanted to give some donation. Gurudev was here, wanted to give some donation, and Gurudev said, "Give it to Devashis." So he came to see me and he said, "I have this donation I want to give you." I said, "Okay, thank you for it." And he gave me, and he said, "What will you use it for? What will you use the money for?" And like just being an imitation person, I said, "That is not your concern. Once you have given it is like this, Then he said, "No, it is my concern, because if I'm going to give you money, I want to see that it's being spent properly." And I thinking about it, and I thought, yeah, he's right actually. I'm not Guru Maharaj. If he gives me the money for the service of Guru Maharaj, then I have to use it in the service of Guru Maharaj and show that I've used it in the service of Guru Maharaj. Nothing clandestine or anything. Not that when people give us a donation, Ram Prabhu and I are making a little fun to go to Barbados for an Isa. No. We have to be able to show, like, transparently, yes, this is what the money's being used for, and it's being used in Guru Maharaj's service. Then when people see that, they'll give more. But if they see they're not telling what that money is being used for, they're not saying anything, a little squirreling it away. We saw one of our devotees in Australia. He was living in a temple, not our temple, a different society's temple, and he saw that the temple president of that temple, they found out that he was siphoning off the donations and built himself like a swimming pool in his home, and like a big luxury, all kinds of luxurious things, that he was siphoning off the money from the temple for that.
But in other temple, they also show on the wall like a chart, who is giving how much and what they're using for, and how much they need.
Yeah, so, we used to do that, but no one was interested, so we stopped doing it. It's a lot of work to do that.
Like ISKCON people, they do it as well.
Yeah. But our accounts are there. Anyone wants to see, they're happy. We're happy to show.
So you're cancelling the trip to Barbados?
No, we're not cancelling it. That's already booked.
Just going to business class.
But anyway, Guru Maharaj would say to us regarding this, that, in relation to this, that the real acme of of divine love is that he would say, we've all heard no risk, no gain, and highest risk, highest gain. And you said, but greater risk, greater gain, like this. He's saying, but are you prepared for all risk and no gain? If you're prepared for that, then come forward, join Mahaprabhu's campaign. Because that's what is demanded of us, actually, that we will risk everything and expect nothing in return. And it's easy to say, but not so easy to do that, you know, that what we did, what we gave, what, you know, all of these things that we've, you know, done nothing in return for that. Okay. We have to expect that. When I was with, I mean, I told you this before, but it was striking to me when I was with Madhusudan Maharaj, Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj in Ukraine. One day it was prasadam time, we were taking prasadam. We were at this like campsite, and they have this festival, the Veda Life Festival there. And like every day, beautiful, by an island, kind of pleasure island place in the middle of the Ukraine, in Kiev. And we had this whole, it's like a holiday camp. He'd hired the whole holiday camp, you know, and anyway, there was one area where all the like preachers and the sannyasis and that, we were all kind of encamped there. And at lunchtime, the devotees would come and give prasadam and like this, you know. So these two girls, Ukrainian girls, they're serving us prasadam. I was with Madhusudan Maharaj. And Russian prasadam, they have their own style, you know. They don't eat rice very much. Buckwheat, they like buckwheat instead of rice, which is okay. It's a bit rough after a while though, you know, kind of like laborers' food, I suppose, you know. But anyway, it's a staple there, buckwheat. But they were trying to cater for us what they thought would be appreciable by us. So, and remember, Madhusudan Maharaj, he's just come out of India after he's been living in India for the last 30 years. And, you know, so then while we're taking prasadam, one of the girls says, Maharaj, is there anything that you would like? And he said, if possible, a green chili. Because they don't cook with chilies there, you know, so she said, oh, I'll try and find. So she went to the kitchen and looking, and then she comes back all glum-faced. Oh, I'm sorry, Maharaj, there are no chilies. She says, oh, it's okay. But, you know, after 30 years in India, he was hankering for a little chili, you know. So anyhow, she said, oh, no. He said, no, it's okay, no problem, don't worry. Anyway, she went away. She's feeling a little disappointed. And then maybe like 10 minutes later, she comes back. She's got a chili, like a green, but a big one, like a big green chili like this, you know. And she says, Maharaj. And he says, okay, give me half, you know, give me half. And so like about half, which is like a normal size chili then. And he's taking that with his prasadam. Said, oh yeah, very good, it's good. Not too hot, not as good, but good. Then I suggest to him, oh Maharaj, keep the other half, and then next prasadam you've got, and he just looked at me like I'd said, you know, like, take Guru Maharaj's money or something. It's like I was suggesting, you know, he said, oh no, Prabhu, I can't do that. I can't keep something for myself for later on. He said, no, if they feed me, then I take prasadam, and if they don't feed me, then I take that as Guru Maharaj's grace also, you know. But I'm not asking for anything. They're asking me anything you would like, so I said a chili, but I'm not thinking, oh, I can keep it for later on. That's not my thinking. And I realized, oh, he's a sadhu. This is a sadhu's thinking. And this is kind of described in the Prema Vivarta of Jagadananda Pandit. And there he says in there, you know, like difference between the renounced order, sannyas order, and the grihastha devotees. Grihasta's responsibility is to make sure there's always plenty to eat, that the house is stored full of, bhoga. But the sannyasi, never to keep anything for themselves. not to store anything, and thought, oh yeah, he's really taken that on board. Well, it's kind of a shock to me, but you know, he's a difficult person to keep up with, let's say. Anyhow.
One devotee was saying, many years ago, he was here, he said, devotees, Maya is just a food, prasadam. They keep it or like that, but that's the only one Maya they say.
No, prasadam is not Maya. But if we think of it as food, it's Maya. And if we're thinking, oh, I'll have to store this away because I might not get any, that's Maya. And Guru Maharaj taught us that, actually. Like one of the things, I mean, I know it's a little bit tangential to what we're talking about, but one of the things that we try to maintain here, that I see everywhere, even in our temples all over the world, is that Guru Maharaj didn't like this everyone queuing up with their plate like at a cafeteria. Yeah. Guru Maharaj didn't like that. The devotees should sit and be served prasadam. Yeah, to honor prasadam. And we don't, and you know, as a general rule of thumb, we don't help ourselves to prasadam. Even, you know, we will, not that we want to put anybody to any trouble, but we always say to a devotee, please give me some prasadam. So we receive prasadam from the hand of a devotee. So we're not thinking of it as food, we're thinking of it as grace coming to us. And how we were taught by Guru Maharaj was, if you serve prasadam, you should not be thinking, I'll make a plate for myself. That was how it used to be. No seconds till all the servers have made up their plates. That's what they used to say. Then you could queue up for seconds. But Guru Maharaj didn't. If you're in anxiety that everything will be gone and you won't have anything to eat, sit down and take prasadam. Don't serve. Let somebody else serve. But if you serve, it should be, yes, whatever's left, that's the remnants of the Vaishnavas. Happily, I'll take that. And if there's nothing left, that's okay also. Then, as we were reading yesterday in Chaitanya Bhagavat, in the morning, when Mahaprabhu, as a baby, Nimai, when he's taking the Brahmin's offering, the Brahmins worship in the house of Jagannath Mishra, the Brahmin, he's calling, he worships Gopal and Shalagram, and he's worshipping by the Gopal mantra. So he's making his offering and calling Gopal by that mantra. And as soon as he does that, Nimai comes and he starts eating the rice, you know, like 3 times this happens, much to the chagrin of Jagannath Mishra. But somehow, and the 3rd time he reveals to the Brahmin. But each time he does it, then the Brahmin says to Jagannath Mishra, oh, Krishna has not allotted me any rice today. No, you cook again. You please. No, it is Krishna's will. I have no problem. But Jagannath Mishra, like putting his head in his hands, he's besides himself. This guest has come to our house and, you know, cooking for his Gopal, and our naughty boy is taking all of that. And of course, then Nimai finally shows, but what's the fault? You're calling me and I'm coming. I am who you are calling. I am him. And showed that divine form to him and told him, but don't tell anyone what you saw here. And actually it says in there, right, if you tell anyone, I'll kill you. If you reveal this to anyone, I will kill you. But the Brahmin's thinking, because Jagannath Mishra wants to like spank him, Nimai, for eating the Brahmin's offering, and the Brahmin says, no, there will be no good will come of that, because he's just a baby. He doesn't know what's right and what's wrong. So just by punishing him, he won't learn anything. So don't punish him. Anyhow, it's a beautiful pastime, and we were reading yesterday. But that Brahmin thinking like that, there's nothing. The Lord has not allocated anything for me to eat today. I'll just take some fruit and roots or something, you know. like that. So, then this way we should think when we're giving prasadam to others. Yes, whatever remains, I'll take that as the Lord's grace. And if nothing remains, that's okay also. There was my daughter, she used to, when she was at school, and she went to a girls' school, and some of the other girls, they would be fasting on Ramadan, the Muslim classmates, and she would say, they were told her, but they have like a big feast before the sunrise, and then a big feast after the sunrise, and then they just go the whole day without eating anything. And she said, that's not fasting, that's just skipping lunch. Anyhow. Justice is within law, and mercy is above law. Prema, divine love, is also above law, but it has its own law. Another verse whose meaning runs parallel to this one is given by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. Virachaya mayi dandam dina bando dayamba gatirihana bhavataha kachidanya mamashti nipatatu shatakotir nibbaram vadavangbas tada pi kilapayodha stuyate chatakena. There is a kind of small bird named the chatak that only drinks rainwater. It never drinks any water from the earth, whether it is from a river, fountain, or lake, or anywhere. Its very nature is that with its mouth upward, it hankers after rainwater. Srila Rupa Goswami gives this example to show how a devotee should always be waiting in expectation of the rainwater of Krishna's love, and no other love. The devotee prays to the Lord, you are the friend of the fallen, so then I have some hope. You may grant your grace or severely punish me. In either case, I have no other alternative but to wholly surrender to your lotus feet. Our attitude of surrender should be just like that of the chatak bird, who always has his eyes fixed upward, praying for rainwater. Rainwater may come profusely, not only enough to fill up his small belly, but enough to drown his whole body. Thunder may come from above, and a bolt from the blue may come and finish his small body and send him to the non-existent quarter. But still the nature of that bird is to pray exclusively for rainwater. He won't take water from any other place under any circumstance. Our attitude towards Krishna should be like that. Whether or not he extends his gracious hand towards us, it is our duty to surrender unto him. In this connection, one verse comes to my memory. When Sri Krishna met Srimati Radharani and the gopis in Kurukshetra after a long separation of perhaps 100 years, he felt that he had committed a great crime by separating himself from them. Approaching near the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani, and remembering their qualities of love and surrender, he felt like the greatest criminal. So much so that he bent down to touch the lotus feet of Radharani. One poet has represented the scene in this way, and that poem has been collected by Rupa Goswami in his Padyavali. Krishna was at that time the paramount king of India, but when he came in connection with the gopis and the atmosphere of Vrindavan, he felt like a criminal, and bending down, he was just about to touch the lotus feet of Radharani, when Radharani, drawing back, remarked, "What are you doing? Why are you coming to touch my feet? This is astounding. Have you lost your mind? You are the master of everything. No explanation can be demanded of you. You are Shami. You are my husband and master, and I am your maidservant. It may be that for some time you were engaged in some other quarter, but what's the harm in that? What is the fault in you for that? That does not matter, for the right is given to you by Scripture and society. There is no crime, no sin on your part. You have done nothing wrong. I am the real criminal. The meanness is with me. The defect is wholly with me. You are not responsible for our separation. So why do you consider that you are faulty or that you have committed some wrong? The positive proof that I am the real criminal is that I sustain my life. I did not die from the pangs of your separation. I am showing my face to the world, but I am not faithful to you. I could not approach the standard of faith which I should have maintained for your love. So I am the criminal, not you. It has been written in the Scriptures by the saints that the wife should be thankful and exclusively devoted to the husband. This has been ordained in the Scriptures. A woman should be devoted exclusively to her husband, her Lord. So in this meeting, I should fall at your feet and beg for your pardon, for your forgiveness that I have really no love for you. I am maintaining this body and showing my face to society. I am not a proper partner for you, so please forgive me. You are begging my forgiveness. This is just the opposite of how things should be. What is this? Please don't do this. That should be the ideal of our affection for Krishna. We, the finite, should take this attitude towards the infinite. At any time, he may only give a little attention to us, but we should be all attentive towards him. And there is no alternative. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises that we have exclusive devotion towards Krishna, and as we are insignificant, our attitude must be of this type. If we want such a great thing, then it is not an injustice that we should be treated hatefully. Our prospect, understanding, and adjustment must be that of self-sacrifice and self-forgetfulness. Just as when someone goes to fight for his country on the battlefield, there is no room for luxury or excessive desire. I remember in this connection that when Mahatma Gandhi formed his non-violence army, one of the volunteer soldiers asked, "Please arrange tea for us." And Gandhi told him, "The water of the river may be supplied to you, but no tea. If you are ready for that, then come forward." If we want to connect ourselves with the Vrindavan Leela of Krishna, we can make no conditions. Then we shall understand the method recommended by Sriman Mahaprabhu. Humility greater than that of a blade of grass. There should be no complaint from our side, not only in the external position of our present life, but even in our external life. Any complaint from our side should be carefully eliminated, and we must fully accept the ways of the Lord. Krishna may accept us or reject us. We have to take the risk. Only then may we make progress. In some way or other, if we can enter the group of Krishna's servitors, we will find that everyone has such a nature. And when they meet together, they will console each other in their respective groups. In different serving relationships, there are different sections of servitors of a similar nature, and they console each other with talk of Krishna, Krishna Katha. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Matchita matgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantas chamam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. My devotees mix together, talk about me, and exchange thoughts that give consolation to their hearts. And they live as if this talk about me is their food. It gives them a high kind of pleasure, and they find that when they talk about me among themselves, they feel as if they are enjoying my presence. Tesham evanukam partam aham agya jam tamaha Nasayam atma bhavashto jnana dipena bhashvata. When sometimes the feeling of separation from me is very acute in my devotees, I suddenly appear before them and quench their thirst for my company. In this last verse of his Shikastakam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given another very fine and high type of solace. And this has been confirmed by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who has written, Bhaye Visha Jwala Hoya, Bitare Anandamaya, Krishna Premara Adbhuta Chorita. Don't be afraid. Outwardly you may feel a horrible pain of separation, but internally you will feel an unparalleled type of rasa, the most pleasing feeling of peace, joy, or ecstasy. Externally there may be pangs of separation, but internally there is the greatest satisfaction. In this way we are advised by the scriptures, and our practical experience corroborates our faith in this subtle matter. The English poet Shelley has written, Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell the saddest thought. When we are reading an epic where there is a cruel separation between the hero and the heroine, it is so sweet to us that although we shed tears, still we cannot leave the book. When we hear about the pangs of Sita Devi, how Ramchandra banishes her and leaves her uncared for in the forest, although she is with child, this is very painful. We shed tears, but still we read on. There is sweetness within pain. It is possible. Separation from Krishna is like that. The special characteristic of Krishna Prem is this. Externally we feel extreme pain like lava, but internally our heart is filled with some extraordinary ecstatic joy. This is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. As much as we can catch the meaning of his instruction, we shall be prepared for that kind of life. This is the fare to go to Vrindavan. And when we are introduced to so many others like us, then our joy knows no bounds. When we meet others who have the same nature and mind as us, we get solace from them. We need not be afraid. In spite of all these things, we should think firmly that there is our home, and we should want to go back to home, back to Godhead. We are not foreigners there. Here we are foreigners. Every man treats me in any way that he likes, but Vrindavan is most hopeful and full of the highest prospect. It is the place of inner satisfaction. We aspire after that. We cannot but continue aspiring for our real home. What is real joy and ecstasy? We are not acquainted with that. This is our present trouble. Yet as much as we progress in Krishna consciousness, we shall become conscious of a practical feeling of real joy and ecstasy, beauty and charm. And in this way we shall become more and more encouraged. Jamunacharya says, Jad abadhi mama cheta Krishna padarabinde Nava nava rasa daman yuta udaitam rantum ashit Tada baddi bata nori sangame smarayamane Bhavati mukha bikara shustu nishti vanam cha. Before I came in touch with the Krishna love of Vrindavan, worldly pleasure was of much importance to me. But now, if my mundane taste comes in my memory, my face becomes disfigured and I spit at the thought. So if we get a slight taste of that ecstasy, then at once we come to the conclusion that there can be no comparison between that and any peace or pleasure here in this mundane world. At the same time, once we are settled in that atmosphere, no pain can disturb or affect us in any way. There is another side also. Although we are advised to be prepared for painful separation. The fact is not so cruel in reality. Krishna says, Maite teshu chapyaham. I am always with my devotees. Wherever there is an exclusive devotee, Krishna is there like his shadow, always invisibly moving after him. This is the Lord's nature. Aham bhakta paradino ya ashvatantra ivadvija sadhu bir grasta ridayo bhakter bhakta jana priya. The Lord tells Durvasa, I am the slave of my devotees. I have no freedom apart from their will. Because they are completely pure and devoted to me, my heart is controlled by them, and I reside always in their hearts. I am dependent not only on my devotees, but even on the servants of my devotees. Even the servants of my devotees are dear to me. We must be prepared for any unfavorable circumstances, but we must not be discouraged. Krishna is most affectionate. His care towards us is most acute and sincere. His affection towards us has no rival. Still, Sriman Mahaprabhu has given us a warning in this verse. You are coming to search after Krishna. Krishna is not a sweet ball from the market that you can purchase and finish so easily. You are trying to attain the highest of the high, so you must be prepared for anything. At the same time, the devotees will come to us saying, have no fear. We are all like you. Let us all walk together in a straight line. Don't be afraid. We are here. We are told that Krishna's devotees are even more sympathetic to us than Krishna himself. The solace of our life and our fortune is his devotees. And Krishna says, Mad bhaktanam che cha ye bhakta. One who is a servant of my servant is my real servant. Sadhu Sangha, the association of saints, is the most important and valuable thing for us. To make our advancement and progress towards the infinite, our association is our guide. It is all important. We must stick to this conclusion. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastrikoi. Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. The conclusion has been given in the scriptures that all perfection can be attained by the help of the saints. Good association is our greatest wealth in reaching the supreme goal. Wow. Very beautiful. Srila Govinda Maharaj says that what we need is good friends if we are to progress in this line, in this life of devotion. And Srila Gurudev said to us once, this word, he said, in my language, is a bandhu. The word bandhu means friend. He said, but more than friend. He said, I want to try to convey to you what that actually means. That bandhu, and bandhu means that I'm with you in the good times and the bad times. When you have nothing, I'm there to feed you and your family. And when you have everything, I'm also there with you. And I'm also there at your graveside when you leave this world. And he said, that's what this word, bandhu, is a very heavy word, he says. The real meaning of that. And he said, and that's the relationship I want you all to have with me. This is a very deep thing. Not just like, yeah, my friend. Because we're friends on Facebook. I've never met the guy, but like my friend. No, friend means who will actually, when you can't take care of yourself, he'll take care of you. He'll be there for you. He'll look after you. We have that saying in English, a friend in need is a friend indeed. When you have some need, then you'll see who are your real friends. When you're, what was it John Lennon said? Nobody sees you when you're down and out. Nobody knows you when you're on cloud 9. So it's like that, you know, when you're down and out, nobody wants anything to do with you when you're in trouble. But if you have a real friend, they'll come looking for you. What can I do? How can I help you? You know, this is friend, means, and Gurudev uses that word bandhu.
I think the English word, if I'm not mistaken, English word bound is related to it.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be, yeah.
Things that are bound together.
Yeah.
And also when you say a band of brothers,
Right.
or a rock band or something, it means people who are bound to each other in some way. Right, tied to each other.
Yeah, beautiful, yes. And, you know, Gurudev, like, seriously wanting everybody to understand. And he's saying, this is the relationship I want with all of you. I want you to understand that I am your bandhu. You know, that when I say that, I don't mean it in any light way. I mean it in a deep way, you know, then. That's really what we need if we are to progress in Krishna consciousness. Because it's not like, as Guru Maharaj said, Krishna's not just a sweet ball that you can purchase in the marketplace and finish very quickly. This journey is a long journey. We have to be prepared for that. You know, Nyasi Maharaj, he told me that some years ago he was in Vrindavan. And, you know, when he was in ISKCON, he was quite famous in ISKCON. He was the president of the Chicago temple. There's many letters in the database between him and Prabhupada. As Sri Govinda, he was Sri Govinda. So many devotees knew him, quite famous devotee that time. But anyway, he took sannyas from Srila Govinda Maharaj and became Bhakti Vigraha Nyasi Maharaj. So anyway, he was in Vrindavan with Gurudev, and some of his old friends, they saw him. Oh, Maharaj, you remember us? Yes, we remember. Then they said, oh, we're having a festival, a Srila Prabhupada festival, reunion of all the, disciples of Prabhupada that are here at the Krishna Balaram Mandir. Would you please come? And maybe you could speak something about your Prabhupada, you know? So he said, yeah, definitely I'll come. And they, exchanged their information and everything. And he came on that day when it was. So they asked him, they invited him to speak, but they're saying like, don't say anything about Sridhar Maharaj, okay? Or Govinda Maharaj. This is about Prabhupada, And he's like, yeah, okay. So anyway, he gets up, then he says, I thought I'll start with a joke, like just lighten everything up. I'll start with a joke. So he said something like, and remember when we thought that if you just chant 16 rounds a day and follow the 4 regulatory principles, you'll go back to Godhead in this very life. And he's like waiting for everyone to like, but they just all looked at him like, yeah. Then he realized, oh my gosh, they still think that, they still think that. He said, then I quickly changed the subject to something else. If only it were that simple, if that's all it required. But it's a journey that we've committed ourselves to, that may be many lifetimes that may take us. We have no idea, and what that means. I mean, actually, the gravity of it is that until you are fully surrendered to the Lord with no other desire except His satisfaction, there's no possibility of you going there. You just spoil everything. Here I am, like with all my selfishness and everything, and I'm going to be part of Krishna's Leela now? Come on, you'll all be there going, hey, what about me? What's going on? How come he gets all the coward girls? Don't I get one? Impossible. That we could think that with in our materially conditioned state, that suddenly we're going to be in Krishna's Leela and Vrindavan, because we chanted 16 rounds a day and followed the 4 regulatory principles. If only it were that simple. But having said that, we're not dealing with a impersonal absolute. We're dealing with a person, the greatest personal absolute. Like Krishna says, I am everything, everything is in me, nothing is in me. I am the controller, the origin of all, but I am your friend. So, then Krishna has a sympathetic will towards us. It's not that he just created us to suffer eternally in the material world, but he created us with some purpose, to fulfill some purpose in his eternal Leela. We do have something, some contribution to make to that. We may have no idea in our present state what that is, but every single one of us has something to offer in the Leela of Krishna. So then we have hope. As Guru Maharaj is saying here, we're praying to the Lord, you're Dina Bandhu, you're the friend of the fallen. We are the fallen, and you are our friend, and we feel some hope there. So, but we should be prepared, as Guru Maharaj says, we should be prepared that it's going to be a long haul. And what else are we going to do? What is how much are we actually serious about this? And I often mention that, how much people are willing to sacrifice in their life for something that they consider to be worthwhile. Even, to become a doctor or to become a lawyer or to become, how many years of study, how many years of clinical practice and, all of these things is required for somebody to actually become a doctor. And people think that's like a worthwhile thing to do, and I'm sure it is. But should we think that all of that self-sacrifice that they have to undertake to reach that to attain the service of Lord Krishna will require anything less than that? That, we think, oh no, it's just a simple thing, right? Just pull some beads and, it'll all magically happen. No, we have to be prepared. And Guru Maharaj saying, all risk and no gain. My position is negligible, and but I'm willing to, give all of that, as much as I am able for your service. And when we come to that, when we can give up this idea of this much for me and this much for Krishna, when we're able to leave that idea, that no, everything is for him, and I am also for him in any way, every way, then we're beginning to go in the right direction. But, and it's a long haul. It's not something that we can just pretend or, naively think that it's just a formula that you have to follow. And suddenly you'll be, waking up in Goloka Vrindavan. No. Whatever it takes, and we have to be prepared for that. Whatever it takes, we're in it for that. Today or tomorrow, we may achieve the goal, but however long that may be, and we think it must be a long time, a very long time. There's that story that we often hear about Narad going to see the Lord, and on the way there, he passes a Brahmin, and the Brahmin says, "Oh, where are you going, Narad?" You're going to see the Lord of Vaikuntha. "Oh, if you see him, please ask, how long will it be before I can return to the Vaikuntha? Before I'll be liberated from this material world." Okay. Then, and then he meets a laborer in the field who asks him the same thing. And then he asks, when he meets the Lord, the Brahmin asked this, the laborer there, he asked this, and what should I tell them? And they said, when you go back, and if they ask you, what was the Lord doing? You can say he was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. And okay. So then when he comes back, and the Brahmin asks him, "So what did my Lord say?" He said, "You're another, 100 lifetimes," or whatever it was, he said. "And what was my Lord doing?" He said, "What was my Lord doing?" He said, "He was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle when I met him." And he said, "No, that's impossible. That can't be done. That's impossible. I can't believe that. I don't believe that. And I also don't believe you know, there are so many lifetimes still for me to come, you know. Then he meets the laborer. I'm maybe not getting this entirely right, but you may correct me. But then the laborer says, "Oh, what was my Lord doing?" And he said, "He's threading an elephant through the eye of a needle." And he said, "Oh, like how wonderful that our Lord can do such miraculous things. It's so beautiful." And how long before I return? He said, "Still like 100 lifetimes." Oh, such a short time. In such a short time, I'll get to see the Lord again. How wonderful! How wonderful! So, you know, we shouldn't think that we have some like priority there because of some qualification that we had, because we followed the 4 regulatory principles and chanted 16 rounds every day. That gives us some priority. No. What is the heart? That is the measure of how fit we are for the Lord's service. Where is our heart? Is our heart melted? Or is it just as before? Everyday chanting, but with the anchor firmly embedded in the water, just rowing round and round and round in a circle, not going anywhere.
So therefore the problem is improper chanting. Because theoretically the chanting should open up the correct attitude, correct train of thought, sincerity, everything should come from the chanting.
Absolutely.
But the problem is it's very, very difficult to chant.
Yeah. It's, Srila Govinda Maharaj said we must avoid the 10 offenses to the name. Yeah. That's why at the time of initiation, he would always give this like pamphlet, explain, because he said, first of all, you have to know what those offenses are if you want to avoid them. But he said, but the likelihood of being able to avoid them is very high. I mean, it's not easy to avoid the offenses to the holy name. And the 10th offense particularly, that's the 10th offense. I mean, it's worded differently in different places, but it's like, after hearing so many things, not to feel love for Krishna is not one, how it's being said. Or to maintain attachment for material things after hearing so much. This is the 10th offense. I asked Gurudev about that, and I said, well, like, we're all guilty of that, surely, Maharaj, you know, like what? And he said, no, actually, the real meaning of that, the 10th offense is that the holy name wants to take us somewhere, and we're reluctant to go there. We're resistant to that. We think that our plan is a better plan, you know, like what we've got planned out for our life or whatever it is. But when we surrender to the name, then we have to allow the name to move us where it wants us to go. And also Srila Govinda Maharaj, we all know, like when he came, that on the first world tour, then we were in that Gladding Road, that house there, rented house. And Gurudev came that first time, and he told us, he said, so I'm thinking, you know, like I'm coming, and he said, what will I tell everybody? What am I going to say to everyone? He said, by, you know, the grace of Srila Prabhupada, all the devotees, they're already enlightened with Krishna consciousness, you know, so I'm not, what am I going to say that's like something new or something, you know? And he said, but when I thought about this very deeply, he said, I came to this conclusion that their devotees, they've been chanting their 16 rounds and following the 4 regulatory principles for 20, 30, 40 years. And no one is getting the results. No one's getting the results. So there can only be 2 reasons for that. One is that it's just some cheating thing. And he said, and we know that it's not, because the saints and the scriptures, they've proven that it's not that. And he said, and believe me, if it were some cheating thing, I would have left it a long time ago. He said, because my nature is this. Maybe I can't do anything good for you, but at least I won't do anything bad for you. So if it were just some cheating thing, I would have left this chanting a long time ago. But we know that it's not that. So the only other possibility is that we're not doing it properly. There's some defect in our chanting. And he said, and this is what we have to face that. Now's the time to speak about that. Okay, we've been chanting, but where's the Krishna praying? Where's that? Who has got that? Where's that coming to anyone? No, it's not coming, is it? So then the reason must be that we are chanting Namaparad. That we're chanting, our chanting is offensive chanting. And Mahaprabhu has given the prescription for chanting the holy name. Trinadapi sunichena torori vasuhishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya shadahari. So we have to follow that. That's our actual sadhana. To practice humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others. And at the same time, not expecting any honor or respect for ourselves. Then you can be qualified to chant the name of Krishna. And the name of Krishna will descend on us as the name proper. So we have to try to avoid the 10 offenses and the 3 kinds of namavas before the name will graciously appear in our heart.
Prabhu, I know a nice little short story that illustrates this problem. There were some ducks in a little pond. That pond was quite dirty and, whatever. It was very tiny. The ducks were accustomed to living in that pond. But one day, the ducks looked up and they saw these beautiful, beautiful flying birds, unlike anything they'd ever seen. These birds were these beautiful white swans flying over. So they saw the ducks in their little pond and they said, "Why don't you come with us? What are you doing there in that pond? It's a dirty little pond. Why are you living there?
Yeah.
Why don't you come with us? We're going to Manasarovara. There, the beautiful lotuses, the water is pure, crystalline, etc., etc." So the ducks looked at each other and they thought, and then they said to the swans, they said, "Is it like our pond? Does it have this? Does it have that?"
Right.
And the swan said, "No, it's not at all like that. It's not like your pond." And they said, "Well, no, we won't go.
We don't want to go.
And the swans flew away.
Oh, yeah.
But isn't that our situation?
It is. That is exactly our situation.
It's really the story of Indra
and the pig.
being a pig.
Yeah. No, it's true. We think we want to give some condition to that. Like, especially, I've heard English people saying, they better be, in heaven. There has to be like cream teas and, the British countryside, or like, I don't want to go if it's not like that, So, yeah, we have, and really, actually, sometimes I think about that, like, okay, so let's say we go to Goloka Vrindavan and we're just playing with Krishna every day in the forest and doing all that, and then, like, if I'm honest, do I want that? Yeah. At this stage, do I want that,
It's kind of like throw up your hands and say, "What would I do all day?"
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because we can't properly conceive of it.
Yeah.
We have some little glimpse.
My grandson asked me, "But what do they do? Do they have PlayStation?" So Nitin asked me that. I said, "No, but then how do they spend their time?" I said, "Well, little boys, they probably play out there in the garden. You don't need computer."
Yeah.
But how long can you do that? He's got so many questions, and then they just can't grasp it.
When I lived in Calcutta, in the Mat at Sri Chaitanya Mat, I had a room and it had these bars on it, like some Indian ruins. It's like bars, And I would look at it and I would watch the crows and stuff. That's how bad it got, And especially in an Indian temple like that, they don't let you do the deity worship.
Right,
They don't let you cook or anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're pretty much relegated to sweeping the floor and things like that.
Yeah.
Which, you should be happy about having the opportunity to sweep the floor. And an ambassador from Vrindavan, an embassy from Vrindavan.
Yeah.
But, instead I found myself looking out through these bars and thinking, what am I going to do? Right. I'm watching the crows and starting to learn how they live.
Yeah.
I said, this isn't me taking advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah.
And, it brought me to the point where I said, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Not at this stage.
Right.
And I left and I came back to the West.
Yeah.
I thought that's not my mind at that point in time.
Yeah.
You can't, it's no use faking it, pretending.
No, I was a similar thing. I was in Navadvip, and at that time, we know that there's some land about 3 miles from the temple, which one of the devotees gave to Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj used to call it the land of nectar. Number 2 Gauranga colony it was, and they used to cultivate fruit and vegetables and various things growing there every day for the malt, and one of our sannyasis used to stay there, but he was traveling, so there was nobody there. So Guru Maharaj asked me to stay there, and I was staying there, and there was one young boy. Sometimes when families, they can't afford to look after their children, they give their kids to the temple. They know they get an education. So there's this young boy, but couldn't have been more than 10 years old, Shamal his name was, and just me and him and another devotee, one other devotee was staying there, Bengali devotee. And while I was there, I contracted a mild malaria, and so I couldn't do anything. Before that, I would go and see Guru Maharaj in the morning, but now I got this, I can't go anywhere, can't go anywhere. So anyway, it was coming up to Christmas, and I'm there in Navadvip alone, basically, on this little plot of land in a straw hut, and with malaria, and I can't eat anything. The only thing that I could keep down was that one of the brahmachari who was with me there, he used to make paneer, and all I could do was drink the whey from that paneer. He'd put some lemon and some sugar, and I'd drink that. That was all I could eat. Nothing else would stay down, So anyhow, I'm just recovering, and it's coming up. It's Christmas Eve, and I'm just now recovering from that malaria. And there was one of the boys who lived nearby. His name was Shashi Bhushan, just like a village boy, but about my age and intelligent. He used to come and talk with me sometimes. So he came and talked with me. And he lent me his transistor radio. So Christmas Eve, I'm tuning on listening on the transistor radio to the Christmas carols from Oxford University. They're broadcasting on the BBC, Oxford University Christmas carols, and I'm listening to that Christmas night, Christmas Eve, and the tears were pouring down my cheeks, and I was thinking, I wish I was at home. So rather than thinking, oh, this is my home, Navadvip Dham, the spiritual world, I'm thinking, I wish I was at home listening to the Christmas carols.
You're a duck.
Yeah, I'm the duck.
The thing is, if I think about it, is I didn't have to do anything. I had all day to chant. All the cooking was done. All I had to do was chant, take prasad, go to kirtans.
Yeah.
No one was expecting anything else from me. No one was asking me to do anything. All I had to do was chant and go to lectures. And I had every opportunity to do 24 hours devotional inundation or absorption. But this was
Guru Maharaj told us of I think it was Goswami Maharaj's mott. Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, Guru Maharaj's godbrother. So he said one day some students, they came to visit that mott. They were interested, in Calcutta, his mott in Calcutta. Then I forget if it was Goswami Maharaj's mott or maybe it was Madhav Maharaj's mott. But anyway, then they came there. But their observation was oh, they're all just like middle-class intellectuals, the people who live here, you know, like, why aren't you like helping the beggars in the street? You know, these are all educated people. They don't have to be here. It's like a luxury, you know, like that they're all here. And so I think it was Goswami Maharaj. He said, okay, let's go and find some beggars and see what we can do with them. You know, excuse me. And they went out on the street, and they didn't have to go very far to find there some beggars there. And they asked this man, like, so where do you live? So I just live here on the street, you know. And what do you eat? So just like whatever we can get, and at the end of the day we'll cook something on the side of the street and eat that, and then we just lie down on the pavement and go to sleep, you know, and spend all day begging, you know, so we can get something to eat. Not uncommon in Calcutta that you see that. And then Goswami Maharaj says to him, so just nearby we have the Mott, the temple of Krishna. If you can come and live there, and we'll give you 3 meals every day. We'll give you your clothing, your lodging, everything. Yeah. All you have to do is just serve Krishna, do Krishna Kirtan and serve Krishna in the temple. What do you think? And the guy said, "Oh, I'm a bit busy at the moment." And then he turned to those students and said, "You see, even when you offer that to somebody, they'd rather live on the street than do that, you know.
They'd rather be in hell."
Yeah. And that's the fact of the matter, right? The fact of the matter is that.
I've seen that. We used to have one gentleman used to come here to the door, take prashad many years ago, and he was homeless. And they finally gave him a place, and it was out in the country. But he gave it up. I didn't like it. Went back on the street.
Yeah.
Like that Tom we had for 25 years. He come and beg, and used to make me Tesco.
Oh,
the
yeah.
boss give me a pound, and I thought he doesn't drink, so I give him a pound, you know.
Tony.
Yeah, but when I found out he's collecting cane from there, suddenly, I have to stop it, you know.
Yeah.
And he changed area, he go to Wilford, he go to Stratford and collect money. You know?
So first thing is that we want to be able to gain some better appreciation of what we've come in connection with, you know, and sometimes, you know, living in a comfortable situation doesn't always afford us that. Sometimes you need something like some difficulty in your life to make you understand where you are and what's happening to you. So this is Kunti Devi's prayer, right? Let the difficulty, because when everything's nice and going on happily, we don't really think about the Lord. But when we're in difficulty, we have no alternative but to call out to the Lord to give us his help and his shelter. And this way, we become Krishna conscious, because we're always thinking of the Lord when we're in difficulty, when we're in trouble. So then she says, let those calamities come again and again, so I can remember you more, because it's better. It's more conducive to our Krishna consciousness than living a life of comfort and convenience.
And in a certain sense, it applies also to the verse of Krishna in the Gita where he says there are 4 types of people.
Yeah.
Come to me.
Right.
And one is the person who's in difficulty.
Yes.
It provides impetus or incentive.
Yes. So yes, and discussing that verse, actually, Srila Govinda Maharaj says, okay, so then what happens, right? Those people, Krishna says, these 4 kinds of people, they surrender to me. Who's impoverished, who's suffering, who's inquisitive, and who's searching for the absolute truth. So he says, so then when those, whatever category you come into, when that's satisfied within you, then what do you do? When your poverty is gone, when your suffering has been lessened, when your inquisitive questioning has been answered, and when you found the absolute truth, now what do you do? Now what do you do? So then, you know, you have to, the next stage is that we have to surrender to the Lord. Not just that I come to you because I need you to help me from this and this and this and this. But now what? Now you've done that. What is it like? Okay, thanks very much. See you later. You know. There's one of our devotees here. He said he was offered a flat by some housing association or something, and he's living here, and he said, I'm going to move into this flat. I've been offered this flat, and I said, why? You can stay. This is Guru Maharaj's temple. You can stay here, and there's no one's asking you to leave or anything. Oh no, I need my own place so I can study my Gita and have some peaceful place for chat. I said, you can do that here. No, I need my place. And of course, so he went to that place, left the temple, went to that place. He didn't read his Gita or chant. He just used it as a base for his own enjoyment. And finally, he lost that place as well because that is his nature. Didn't pay the rent, spent the money on other things, and didn't come back here either. So we always have some plea, isn't it? Yes, Krishna, surrender to you after I've done this or done that, or yeah. Once I've done this, once I've done that. And Srila Guru Maharaj said in one of his first meetings with Saraswat Thakur, and he was invited to the Gaura Purnima festival, and he said when everyone was leaving, they're coming to, after the festival was finished, they're bowing down to Saraswat Thakur, and he's sitting, Guru Maharaj said he's sitting in this canvas chair, and he's saying, oh, you people, don't deceive me, don't cheat me. And Guru Maharaj said, I'm thinking he said, I'm a very acute listener, I want to understand. Why is he saying that, He invited everybody to this festival. They all attended. The festival's complete, and now they're going away. Then, what's the question of deceiving or cheating there? And he said, but I know that he has some purpose for saying that. He said, and I want to know what that is. He said, so I just found a place and I sat down, so I could hear more what he's going to say. And then he said, oh, all of you came here, and I entered into some relationship with you on the understanding that you will serve Krishna, and now you're all going away. So I feel deceived that you came and now you're going away, and you won't be serving Krishna, going back to your homes, going back to your jobs, going back to whatever it is. And he said, and if you say, well, I have some duty to take care of. When I finish that duty, then I'll come. Or if you say, there are some fires that I need to put out. Once I've dealt with the fires, then I'll be able to come back. He said, then I say to you, no, you don't need to bother with those fires. Let them burn. Let the whole world burn. You'll only ever be satisfied by serving Lord Krishna. You won't be satisfied even if you put out all the fires. And he said, actually, it's better to let the world burn, then you don't have to deal with these burnt things anymore. Just come now as you are and surrender to Krishna. And Guru Maharaj said, and I went with that thought in my mind, but I had some duty that I had to take care of. My mother had passed away, I had to do her Shraddha. I promised I would do that. Then I came and went back. After that I came back, and all my brothers and sister, they all came. Said, and they all left, and then they all left crying. Guru Maharaj said they all left crying, but I stayed. So there we are. So there is nothing imperative in this world that we have to take care of first. Krishna will take care of that. That's what he says. Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam braja hamtam sarva papebhyo moksha yishami ma shucha. So we're thinking that I have some duty in this world, and if I don't fulfill that duty, some bad reaction must come to me. But Krishna says, don't fear about that. If you actually surrender to me, I'll protect you from any adverse reaction that may come to you. Don't worry. So do we believe him or not? And that's the question. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuro mami vaisasi satyante pratijani priyoshime. Manmana bhava, give your heart and your mind to me, become my devotee, do everything you do as an offering to me, and surely you'll come to me. And Krishna says to Arjuna, and you can believe me, Arjuna, because you're priyoshime, you're very dear to me. And if you can't believe me, who will you believe in this world? So, and Krishna's speaking to us actually, saying, I promise you this, if you try to be my devotee, you'll come to me. And I promise you that, Arjuna, and you are priyoshime, I promise it to you. Then
So
believe me.
We easily say, like if someone speaks to you, someone say, do you believe in God? Yes, I believe in God. But do we?
Yeah.
It's the question. What you're just saying there, it all boils down to belief.
Yes.
How much belief do we actually have?
As when somebody asked that question to Salvador Dali, the
Yeah.
artist,
Yeah.
he said, yes, I believe in God, but the problem is I have no faith.
Yeah, that's good.
A very honest answer.
Yeah, it's a good example.
Yes, I believe in God, but I have no faith.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, you see. So who do we believe? We're always thinking, yes, but, maybe. Anyway, but every journey starts with a single step, isn't it? So from where we are now, we should move towards him. And that will be different for everybody, where we are in our journey towards the Lord. Whatever, like Guru Maharaj said, whatever I have in my hand right now, let me use that in Krishna's service. Because tomorrow we don't know anything, what may happen tomorrow. But what we have in our hand now, we have some control over that, and let us utilize that in Krishna's service. Try to serve Krishna. And Guru Maharaj saying, quoting, Longfellow, trust no future, however pleasant, let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God overhead. Guru Maharaj liked that very much. So, what else can we do? Where we are now, because there's only now, right? There is only now. Tomorrow's a dream, and yesterday is dead. It's gone, and it'll never come back. It's just a memory. So we are only ever in the now, but we're always thinking about the future or lamenting about the past. But if we can actually act in the time that we have now, act in the living present, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, act in times that are with you and progress you shall call. So we don't know what the future is. We can't do anything about the past. Then what we have right now, that time that we have right now, let us use that in Krishna's service as best as we can, and with sincerity. If we do that with sincerity, the Lord knows the heart of his devotee. And surrender is a constant thing. You surrender now and tomorrow you've forgotten that. But Krishna is so merciful. Ram Chandra told to the devotee, to Lakshman, whoever even once says, Lord, I am yours, sincerely, then I give them my protection for all time to come. So we need to be sincere. And there's no magic formula to be sincere. Either you're sincere or you're not sincere. When somebody asked Guru Maharaj that, when Guru Maharaj was saying, sincerity is the key to our success in spiritual life, and someone said, how do I become sincere? And Guru Maharaj's reply was simply, just by being sincere. There's not any formula that makes you sincere. Just be sincere. And then he said, actually, sincerity is one of the qualities of the soul. It's a spiritual quality, and it's within every one of us. So you just have to tap into that and try and filter out all the muck and just try to be sincere. then today or tomorrow we must get what we want, what it is that we want. That's the key. What is it that we want? What do we actually want? Do we want Krishna, or do we want Krishna to give us stuff? To do stuff for us? Yes, Krishna, please. Give me something. Give me health and a wealth and a cottage by the sea. Om Jai Jagadisha Hare. All right. So we shall finish our talk for today. Jai Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bhagya Ki Jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanand.